do you want to fight Mikey Garcia next?
Definitely I want that fight. I feel like that's the best fight available for me right now with Sean Porter and Danny Garcia fighting each other in September. Keith Thurman still has to return and get a tune-up. So right now, that's the best fight for me.
This was earlier in the night before Mikey Garcia and Robert Easter got into the ring. So, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the details of the fight because, let's face it, it's happening. You know, Richard Schaefer, the promoter of Mikey Garcia, or who has invested interest in Mikey Garcia, has already confirmed during this post-fight press conference in this upper image right here, is that it's going to be on pay-per-view. It's going to be in November or December, and it's going to be in Vegas. You may wonder why not Texas with the Hispanic population and Errol Spence being from Texas. They're doing Vegas. TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Now, of course, at the post-fight press conference, Robert Easter has already talked, and he has left the press conference or leaving the press conference soon, the post-fight press conference at this time. So, of course, the number one questions fans want to know is what's next for Mikey Garcia? Are you really going to fight Errol Spence? What's going on with Lomachenko? So go watch the post-fight press conference, and all of these questions are answered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to talk about everything that was talked about and, you know, give my thoughts on the fight. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.
What did you take
I got a belt.
that really proves that point?
Oh, well, I always look for the biggest challenges. I'm looking for the biggest fights. You know, ever since I came back, I wanted to, in a way, make up for the lost time. And I don't think there's any other way except fighting the best champions out there. We fought another undefeated fighter, undefeated champion tonight. There's no one else that excites me enough, that motivates me, and that can challenge me other than Errol Spence. And I'm willing to take that challenge all the way up just because that's the fight that I want. That's the fight that will motivate me the most.
Hey, Mikey, back here. Mikey, straight back. Hey, congratulations on the win tonight. When you talk about Errol Spence, he came over and he spoke to some of us at ringside after the fight, and we asked him what he thought about it. And when he was concluding his remarks, he said he was licking his chops.
You hear that Dan Rayfield says his remarks. Allegedly, Errol Spence, as he was, you know, leaving, he passed by Media Row, you know, where the media, you know, be with the computers and everything, watching the fight. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't know I forgot the exact words, but it's on Twitter, and I'm probably sure you're going to hear about it. Is that pretty much Al Haymon is giving the okay on this fight, and that the fight is going to go down. So please understand what I'm saying is that Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia, unless something crazy happens, and this is already crazy, the fight is happening. And it's going to be on pay-per-view. And what the fight is Errol Spence is the boogeyman of the 147-pound division. He can't fight Terrence Crawford, not until that fight gets to a point where it just has to happen. There's no other options. Because Errol Spence goes on to tweet that, you know, hold on, I'm going to pull it up for you, that, you know, because Terrence Crawford is over on ESPN with Top Rank, they can't fight. And they've been watching each other. You can tell. If you've really been paying attention to Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, you can tell because that's the mystical super fight of the 147-pound division. You know, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. In my opinion, we still don't know enough about Terrence Crawford at 147 to say he can beat Errol Spence or not. Errol Spence has still, you know, got to get a real good, solid name outside of Kell Brook on his resume for people to say, you know, okay, he's really, really, really legit, you know? Here, listen to this while I pull this up over here.
You know, he gave you respect for being a top-notch fighter, but it seemed like he didn't think that your size would translate to where he's at. What do you think about the fact that you're both tremendous fighters, but that he's so much bigger than you?
No, that's a challenge. You know, I am moving up all the way to welterweight. You know, if I land that fight, it'll be my first attempt at welterweight, and I'm going against the top guy there, against the best in the division. I'm prepared to take on that challenge. Like I said, I'm here to challenge myself, you know, and he is the best. he might feel that it's, an easy fight for him, or I'm too small. Well, that's fine. Let's get in the ring and let's get to work.
I'd like to ask Robert Garcia about that also. Robert, I know that you've had, in past statements, had some misgivings about the prospect of Mikey going up to welterweight. Can you expound on that now that it seems though it's going to probably become a reality at the end of this year?
Robert Garcia does not like this idea at all. And later on, we can't watch this whole thing, but later on in the press conference, the post-fight press conference, he's going to talk about the father of Mikey Garcia. You see him come out with both, of them. The father of Robert Garcia, Mikey Garcia, acts as kind of like the manager. He's even one of the reasons why Mikey Garcia didn't fight Omar Figueroa, from my understanding, because they was like, yo, Figueroa's going to pull out. And lo and behold, Figueroa went on to be signed to fight Adrian Broner and pulled out of that fight. The point is, they do not like the idea of him fighting Errol Spence. And I don't want to hear later on down the line in the future that they were pressured into this fight. Not Mikey Garcia, because Mikey Garcia, I feel, genuinely wants the fight. He is the one. Don't forget, he's asked for this. Whatever the outcome is, whether he gets his ass beat or whether he wins, he asked for this. So don't forget that. And it's a double-edged sword, because the good thing is, if he wins, they'll be like, damn, he called out Errol Spence when nobody else wanted him, and he went over and fighting, moved up 2 weight divisions. That's some super magical automatic. That should be automatic Hall of Fame right there. But on the flip side, if he loses, how is he going to lose? Probably by getting his fucking ass beat. And he's got a pretty soft body. Pause. I'm saying, moving up to 147, I'm wondering how he's going to look, because in this case, I'm thinking if he moved up to 147, he came in at 149 tonight. What's he going to come into the ring as? About 154, no more, no less. And guess what? I wish we can go pull up the tail of the tape for the Ocampo fight. Errol Spence versus Ocampo. He didn't come in that heavy for that fight. But the thing is, Errol Spence, if you go look at his resume, he has touched. Oh, my bad. They've been doing it's been little shots like this going around, like when Showtime would say Errol Spence is the best 147 pounder, and they did not mention Terrence Crawford's name tonight, did they? But the point is, it's a very, very intriguing fight. And also, I hear a narrative going around, or I'm seeing a narrative going around of people saying Mikey Garcia is ducking Loma, to go fight Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a much bigger risk. He's moving up 2 weight divisions. What the fuck? Errol Spence can touch 160. Yeah, well, he's already fought at 160, at 156 against Keith Van Herden. 160. Former 126-pound champion Mikey Garcia. 126, 130, 135, unify. Remember last fight he moved up to 140 for Sergey Limpinets. Errol Spence has fought at 160. He can one day legitimately, with his size and the power that he has, legitimately compete at 160 one day full time. I think that's his cap. You know how fighters have their caps? For example, I think Lomachenko's cap is 140. Mikey Garcia is showing, even when he was in negotiations or talks, there was talks for him to fight Miguel Cotto on pay-per-view. We've seen that he would even go to 154. So you gotta give Mikey Garcia his credit. But like I said, Robert Garcia, his brother, they don't like this. They don't like it at all. And I wonder if it's going to be a situation later on if Mikey Garcia loses and Robert Garcia loses his shit, and does an interview and say, they pressured my brother into that fight. I told him, that we didn't want that fight. My dad didn't want him to take that fight, but they kept on the money, and we knew he didn't, Listen to what he has to say.
Look, we've always said that we shouldn't move too fast and take that challenge right now because, we're doing great at lightweight and even junior welterweight, but that's what Mikey wants, and we know that he does have the skills. He has the time to compete. It's not going to be easy, and Mikey said before, he loves those challenges, and this will probably be the first fight that he's ever had where he's going to be the underdog, and I think that's what's going to motivate him even more. That's why he's willing to take things. So I'm from now on, we're going to take the fight.
Just give it up for Robert Easter. He's leaving.
Like I said, thank everybody for coming out. Thank Mikey Garcia. Thank everybody from everywhere else.
Wait, let me see if I forgot what else. It was something else I wanted you guys to hear.
He's a fighter. He fights, and you can see in his body. That's some good.
My bad. Damn it.
To take on that challenge, like on one occasion, I remember up until the 12th round, I was still.
Mikey and Lomachenko.
Not with.
There we are. That's the part I was looking for.
Advancing towards, Mikey and Lomachenko.
Not with.
I forgot the reporter that asked him this, but Mikey Garcia was asked about. Mikey Garcia and Robert Garcia was asked about, like the top rank beef and what they work together, and basically this reporter just asked Robert Garcia if there's been any talk with anybody from Top Rank about potentially making the fight in the future. I'll go back a little bit more. So what's this? Hold on, my bad.
There with Mikey and with Top Rank. You've been doing a lot of those Top Rank shows recently. Have you had any conversations with the people there about kind of thawing those problems and advancing towards Mikey and Lomachenko?
Not with Bob Arum or Todd, but I do with a lot of other.
Bob Arum, of course, the head of Top Rank, and then Todd the Buff, the second in command.
People that work for Top Rank, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Most of them tell me Mikey will beat Lomachenko, and that's probably why if the fight ever happens, it's gonna be whenever it's so big where it has to happen. But as of now, that's what Mikey doesn't even consider chasing that fight, because we know that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
Robert, Mikey, buenas noches. Antes que nada, muchas felicidades por la gran actuación.
I forgot this dude was that loud. Hold on. Let me go to Richard Schaefer.
Lo que yo preferiría hacer, porque si
about the pay-per-view.
For Richard, when you guys look ahead to a fight with Spence, are you guys looking at pay-per-view in Vegas, or if not, what are maybe some of the other options?
Well, definitely it's a pay-per-view fight. It's one of the biggest fights you can make. It's like a dream matchup, almost too good to be true. Definitely pay-per-view. And I think for pay-per-view, Las Vegas is the perfect place. But I do believe with this huge turnout Mikey had tonight here, as I mentioned, it was slightly bigger than what we had for Morris and Santa Cruz. But for Mikey to come back here after 7 years, I mentioned it before, Los Angeles Staples Center has its 4th franchise here. After the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Kings, they have the Garcias now. Mikey Garcia, and I think this building here is going to see much more of Mikey Garcia. Well, Mikey is his own boss, so Mikey will be calling the shots, and I think the good foundation is that Mikey and Errol Spence both seem to want to have the fight. They both have the same advisor, so
Haymon.
We'll see how quickly it can be put together. But usually when two fighters want to fight, two fighters who are in control of their own destiny, it's relatively easy to get stuff done.
Mikey, over here. I'm back. In the first couple of rounds, Robert got his punches in, jabs to the body.
All right, yeah, we're gonna stop right there. So here's my take on okay. Well, let's give a summary. The way they talk. Listen, the fight's gonna happen. The fight's gonna happen with Richard Schaefer, and Al Haymon behind it, and the fighters on board. Errol Spence may be looking at it like, well, shit, But I look at it like this: I didn't judge Canelo versus Khan, even though I was like, oh shit, Khan gonna get knocked the fuck out. I didn't judge Golovkin versus Kell Brook. They had to chase the bag. They had to get that money. I'm not judging Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. You know, they got to get that bread, got to chase that bag. You got no need to Daenair going down to 118 in World Boxing Super Series. I'm not going to judge him. That ain't my right. I'm not God. I'm not the Lord. You know? And I'm definitely not, being judgmental of anybody now, since I almost got called up to the main line earlier this year. Called up on the main line, to the main line. Or maybe the main line down there, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is, I'm wondering what's going to, like, a question was asked about pay-per-view buys. I'm going to buy it. It's my job. But are people going to be like, yo, I'm buying that, motherfucking, mismatch? Because it's looked at as a mismatch. I'm not saying that Mikey Garcia don't have the skills to pull off an upset. But the things that I'm looking at, like looking at it, you would have to really, really be who I can tend to be sometimes and come up with some cockamamie ideas on how Mikey Garcia can win. Like some Bon Jovi living on a prayer type shit. Some, divine intervention. That Pulp Fiction shit, like where, shooting bullets, looking around. Some shit like that got to go down for Mikey Garcia to win to me. But I be coming up with shit like that. Everybody got a chance. But against listen, if it was to happen, if Mikey Garcia was to win, understand we would be seeing history. So prepare for it. We've been hearing for a while now that Showtime had a secret pay-per-view they were working on. I was thinking it probably was going to be Garcia Porter. Then I thought, okay, maybe Wilder versus Ortiz too, which is the rumor's been lurking around. And now it's looking like it's going to be this. Their secret pay-per-view, Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence, to give them their payday and also to make sure Errol Spence is satisfied, because remember, people have been after him. Showtime's got to satisfy their stable of fighters now. Shit's got to start being picked up because you got Eddie Hearn, Top Rank trying to fill their dates, I got to go to bed. It's almost 3 a.m. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.